This is the September Marketing Tool Talk webinar, and we're talking about, or I'm talking to you, and you're going to talk with me about free video editing software. And the reason this is important is because you need to be able to edit. If you're going to go out and shoot, and you're going to create videos to use in your marketing, which I highly advise that you do, you're going to wind up shooting a lot more footage than you need. That's part of, how you shoot video. Shoot a lot, then edit down to what you need. There are also tips that I've given in other workshops and other webinars about planning in advance and shooting for the edit. But all of that is basically a whole nother webinar and a whole nother workshop even. I've done half-day workshops on that. Right now, what I want to show you is some tools that you can use for actually doing video editing. And we're going to do a little bit of live examples with, trimming some clips, throwing in some audio underneath, and just showing you generally some of how the features of different options work. Okay, so right now I'm going to go back. I'm going to share a screen and show you some of the tools that we're talking about today. First thing I want to let you know, and I put it in the chat window, is that to go along with the webinar, while I was doing research, and I'll explain why I had to do some more research on this, I went through a lot of reviews, a lot of articles, everything out there about different free video editing software. And my notes in preparation for this webinar turned into what I determined to be an epic roundup post on free video editing software, as well as at the end I've given some links to some of the best, most well-known paid software that you can use, things like Corel and PowerDirector, Vegas, Adobe Premiere, ScreenFlow, things like that. We're going to concentrate today on the free options because I always try to give you budget-friendly tools during the Tool Talk webinars. And this post is going to give you a lot more information than what I'm covering, just in today's webinar. And, I'm also looking, I'm not entirely sure whether we're showing my whole screen. Just one second. Nope, that should be this. So let's close down here. So when I do Tool Talk webinars, I try to give you a favorite tool that I like. I try to give you a tool that I think is new to you. I think most of today's tools are going to be fairly new. And I'm going to give you something new to explore. I'm actually going to, you know what? We're going to do this a little bit differently. We're just going to zoom that out. Whoa, not that big. There are a ton of tools that you could potentially be using. Like I said, there's a lot of paid tools in the category. There's a lot of, sorry, a little distracted, making sure that you're actually seeing what I want you to be seeing here, and I'm not entirely sure of that. So, video problems, fix it in the edit. There's the things like I said, there's Filmora, there's the paid software, there's Adobe, there's iMovie, there's ScreenFlow. One of the real things I want to talk to you about is the fact that two of the most maybe well-known, or at least some of the easiest tools that have been out there on the market were YouTube's editor. Yes, YouTube had a complete editing software built in. You had to dig through the menu to find it, but it was there, and it was easy, and it was simple. And YouTube killed it as of yesterday, September 20th, with probably very little fanfare, and has, well, and very little announcement, and it's really, upset a lot of people, especially those who are Chromebook users or those who use Chromebooks in education, because it was practically the only tool that they could use on a Chromebook. Chromebooks you can't download and keep the software on a Chromebook. You're doing everything cloud-based. well, YouTube's editor was cloud-based, and so there is not the same free equivalent software that's out there for those who are using cloud only. The other is that as of January, Windows killed Movie Maker. It's unsupported. They took it out of the, you can't download it. If you still have it on your computer and it still works, if it didn't get disabled by one of the recent Windows updates, it still works and you can keep using it. And it is probably the absolute simplest tool there ever has been for video editing. However, you know, if something goes wrong, there was an update recently and it killed my copy, and I still am distraught. I may have been able to repair it by rolling back, you know, and running a fix on a Windows Essentials pack. And there are some third-party sites that say you can download Movie Maker. I would be really hesitant about that because of not knowing what else is possibly packaged in there. There's just too high a risk, you know, of malware coming along with that. So RIP Movie Maker, and that set me off this summer to try and find an alternative, something else that could possibly replace it, something that could be easy, something that I could show in my workshops, in my, you know, on-site library training, something that I can use for myself so that if I want to put a couple of clips together on a Monday afternoon and I don't want to spend the rest of the day watching tutorials on, you know, how to splice and how to edit and how to, you know, throw in an audio track and just do simple video editing. So the first one that I tried is this one on the screen here. That's VideoPad. While there are some features about it I really like, I've gotten very frustrated recently, and I'll get into that. WeVideo is a completely cloud-based video editor, which is very simple to use. I think it's up there with Windows Movie Maker or others in terms of simplicity and ease. It has better features, you know, and it's more modern and up-to-date than Windows Movie Maker was. But it's a freemium product, which means there's significant limitations on the free version, including things like watermarking. The others that I have downloaded, yes, I have like 4 different free video editors on my computer right now that I can show you that I'm playing around with. Shotcut is one, and I'm going to show you that in more depth. This is VSDC. This is one I want to take a little more time to explore and maybe do a separate write-up or a separate webinar on this. It's considered to be an advanced features free video editor, more powerful. Vitamux, really simple, bare bones, sort of 90s-esque interface. Perhaps too simple. I mean, it's got some really powerful stuff in built-in menus if you dig around and you read some of the online help guides, but you know, it's got limitations that I'm not feeling it right now. So there we have it. There was Windows Movie Maker and how simple that was. This was what YouTube looked like, and RIP for both of those, unfortunately. Now, this I am going to go full screen so you can see. I want you to know about some video editing tips before we even get into software and what software can do what. The thing is, you need to start with the simplest and easiest tool for you, because if you can't or you won't use it, then it's no good to you. When you're editing, the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to look through your clips. You're going to want to look through the different things that you think you're using in a particular project, and you want to start trimming the beginnings and the endings of those clips so there's no long pauses, there's no ums. You want to make sure that you end a clip a beat after someone stops talking or pauses. You know, and if you're planning your videos, especially when you're doing an interview or a talking head, then you can make sure to plan so that that person stops, pauses for a second before they go on, because then that gives you room in the edit. Trust me, 1 second is a lot of room to work with. That's multiple frames you can edit, and it's going to make things a lot cleaner. Another thing that some people like to do is they try to end a clip or an edit on emotion. think about if you're watching a Hollywood film, you're going to think, somebody closes the door, that's a cut. You don't then keep watching as the door, moves or opens. You're going to flip to maybe another angle of somebody opening the door from the other side. Big editing tip: cut everything shorter than you think, especially if you're using, B-roll, or you're not using the audio from that particular clip, and you want to keep things moving and you want to keep people's attention as they're watching. You want to keep those clips short, 2 seconds, maybe less than 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds at the most. There's a lot of things you're going to shoot, and the good news is you can reuse those clips. You're not destroying them, the way that we were cutting film apart, where you had to be, absolutely sure that's what you wanted, because you weren't going to be able to put it back together again very easily. Go ahead, trim that in the project and trim it down, trim it short, as you're keeping and resetting attention. Like every 8 to 10 seconds in that video, it's a different clip, it's a new angle, it's a cut, it's a zoom in, it's a change in the audio or the music beat. Keep people's attention. Another thing, just because a lot of these tools have fancy transitions, similar to the things you see like in PowerPoint, please don't use them. No swirling screens, no checkerboards, no big hard wipes. First of all, honestly, they look cheesy. You don't see anybody on TV in Hollywood using, checkerboard pixel dissolves. No. Plus, they take extra time, and honestly, they're more distracting to the viewer than if you just had cut without a transition of any kind. If you have a video clip, say you've interviewed someone, and the audio is good because you're using a proper mic, because you've listened to my other recommendations, read some of my other tips and blog posts, you've got good audio. Maybe the lighting wasn't quite right. Maybe the person didn't look right. Maybe didn't frame it. And the composition of the shot isn't quite, what you wanted. Save it, because you can just use that audio track while you're editing and then show B-roll or other clips or pictures over that audio. If you've got good audio, don't throw that clip out of your project. You definitely want to save it. This is the interface of the VSDC video editor. And it's one of those things where I was poking around. VSDC has a lot of those transitions with checkerboards and diagonal wipes and 16 by 16 pixel, striped line. No, just because they're in there and this is an advanced tool doesn't mean you need to use that. I'm intrigued by this tool, but this is something that needs more time for me to sit down with, to figure out how to get the most of it, to figure out whether I can recommend this as a good everyday average replacement for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience in video work and video editing. Even with the experience that I have over the years, this was, it's a little intimidating, and I'm having to relearn how to do things to some degree with each different tool. There are certain standards for editing, like I said, in terms of clips and snips, and you've got your scissors and you're making cuts, and you've got transitions and you're adding audio effects. The difference is how each particular software handles those actions. And it's why I even still have the guidebooks for a Sony Vegas movie studio software that's about 5 years old. I don't even still have the software. I have this book and this guide because the tips that it gives on how to do editing are still relevant. It's just a matter of how does this particular tool handle things? Where have they put it in a menu? And you're going to have to sort of play around or, watch the tutorials. Look at the FAQs for these tools to figure out how intuitive you think it's going to be. This is the interface for VideoPad, and it's clean. It's. I think somebody said it was Windows XP-ish, and it is. And it does remind me most, maybe, of Movie Maker's interface. And, it was pretty easy without having read any instructions. I didn't watch tutorials. I was able to get in and start trimming video clips, adding them together, threw in music, made transitions, and you can see all of this. I've got about a 20-second, 20, 30-second project using all stock video clips to tell a short library story, make a little commercial that I was working on here as an example. And I was pretty excited. And to show you how this looked at the end, until it gets to the point where with the free version of the software, I can't export it. I can't download it. I can't make it output this in anything other than, well, it's a project in VideoPad, which is completely useless. It keeps telling me and prompting me that I have to pay to have access to download, which is contrary to what their website and their tutorials say. I've even rolled the software back to give me, no, I want the free version, which should let me export. No dice so far. So I may have to uninstall this and reinstall this and try again. In the meantime, that's incredibly frustrating and annoying and has bumped this way down on my list. You know, great intuitiveness, bad because you can't actually complete using the tool as you'd like. This is Shotcut, and it's a really sort of clean, minimalist, modern-looking interface. It works with things called playlists, and you can dock and undock the various windows. A little bit like Photoshop, honestly, in terms of where you can move around the menus that control the various tools that you're using. This is one I'm going to dig in. I'm going to show you, and we're going to do a little bit of editing. Right now, I think this might be the one that I go to. It's been easiest, plus Shotcut has some really good video tutorials, both that they've put out as well as tons of good quality tutorials on YouTube for the many thousands of users who are already using Shotcut and have used it for all kinds of projects and video needs. So if you want to learn in depth how to use Shotcut, there are plenty of resources out there that are easy to understand and easy to follow. I know that because I've been watching the tutorials this week because I had to learn enough of video to be able to show you how to do some basic, project work in here. And so, hey, I can learn this in, 90 minutes, then I'm pretty sure everybody else can too, or quicker. This is the interface for a Vidimux. Pretty spare, pretty basic. Honestly, it's actually so basic I'm not even sure what to do or where to go. There's no timeline here. I think you kind of have to add one video clip at a time, which, this program might work for if you need to trim a clip and then use it someplace else. If you want to add effects, if you want to add transitions, color correction, or something like that, and use it somewhere else. But then you're using two different video programs, and what's the point? That's just, it's more effort than I want to maybe put in right now. So the thing you may have heard me talking about is that there's a lot more to video than the software and the tools, and I have done half-day and almost full-day workshops on video because you want to plan and have a shot list, and the more you do up front in getting ready for video, the easier it becomes to edit. Edit is the last thing at the top of the triangle for like the hierarchy of needs and importance in video. You got to have good content, you got to have good story, you have to have good audio. Then you have to worry about making sure you've got composition and it looks good, and then you've got lighting, and then finally up at the very top is you can worry about editing, because if you didn't get the audio right and the picture doesn't look very good, and you didn't have a very good story to tell, well then you're not going to be able to fix all of that in editing, or you can, but you're going to need Hollywood Spielberg skills and extra tools and a whole lot of time. So if you want to get more training for your library, your organization on how to set up, how to shoot good video, how to plan for good video, so that editing it is easier, contact me, because those are workshops that I have done at various conferences and for library consortium and library systems. So this is Loopster. Loopster is one of two cloud-based video editing software sources that I've liked and that I've reviewed and recommended in my marketing library services column or in presentations. And I'll show you, it's simple. It's really nice, clean, easy. It's a good looking interface. They make it really easy to use. This isn't for complex projects. And the thing is, the difference is, like most of them, it's freemium, meaning you're going to get very limited features, and you're going to get watermarking, and you're not going to be able to create a very long video with the free versions. But it's enough you can also test it out and see whether it's worth it to pay. And in a minute, I'll go online and I'll show you their pricing page. This is WeVideo. I think WeVideo is a step up from Loopster in terms of the features that it offers. It's a little more robust. It's also been said to be, easy enough that schools use it for a lot of kids projects. It has nonprofit and educational, funding models and discounts, drag and drop, super simple. So that it's certainly worth looking at. Again, the limitations are versus the free, the watermarking, short video, length, which, to be honest, you should be creating short videos for marketing purposes anyway. You're not creating 10-minute videos for marketing. You want to create a tutorial, that's different. Go grab Snagit or something like that. You're also going to, I'll come back to this. You're going to notice that something that I haven't mentioned. I didn't mention Camtasia. Sorry, I need to move this back over here to this screen. This is Shotcut. I didn't mention Camtasia because honestly, I'm not a fan. I think Camtasia costs too much for what it is. If you're on a Mac and PC, they're completely different pieces of software, and they have about $100 to $200 differential in price. Yes, it's editing, it's screencasting, it's screen capture, it's supposedly easy. If you're in a higher education system, then there's a pretty good chance that you might even be able to get Camtasia for free. You've probably got support from instructional designers on using Camtasia. But if you were in another organization and you're looking to buy it, you're on PCs, it's way expensive compared to the free video editors that are out here, like Shotcut. VSDC has a screen capture feature in it. I think VideoPad does as well. It's way more expensive than Adobe, Premiere Elements or Corel or those products that you can buy and also, keep a copy of for years on a computer. So you're probably never going to see me recommend Camtasia in any of my tool talks, my webinars, or my columns for that and other reasons, although I know some of the folks who have it love it. Let's have a separate discussion on that. So this is Shotcut, and it's this is a playlist, and this is a clip. Actually, right now, this what you're seeing in this screen up here is from this little project, this little timeline that I'm working on. This is a timeline. Timelines are, in most instances, how videos are edited. This is the V1, and Shotcut means this is the video line. A1, this is an audio line. I've added an audio track, but as you can see, it's blank. There's nothing going on here. In Shotcut, this color, this golden greenish, is what's active at the moment. Now, if I click that, that should be, what we're working on here. Just 1 second. All right, so one of the things that's nice about Shotcut is, I'm going to slide this over, and so I have here, this is a folder where I keep what I call training clips, and they are comps from stock houses that do video, Pond 5, Dissolve, several others that I've used, and I keep them for training purposes. They're low res, they're watermarked, but they're great for the purposes of showing how you can put a story together and just practicing using video, and already having high quality video. You don't have to worry about it, anything like that. Great to use the tools. I also use it because it shows to libraries that, if you can't shoot video for various reasons in your own library, or you can only shoot ones that, clips that don't have any people in them, you can get stock video of happy children in the public library, or teenage students studying in the library, or adults, or adult students, or college students. It's out there. It's available. That's maybe a separate webinar. It's been a separate column that I've written. But the nice thing, for example, is that shotcut means I can just I can just drag this. So say I'm looking and I like this. I got a clip over here of a librarian teaching and working with a boy. So I'm just gonna, drag that over there, and it automatically starts playing it. But it's here. It's in my playlist. I can do anything with it. That's pretty nice. I didn't have to go to file, open file, anything like that. Most of the stock and the comp clips have no audio, which is fine. You don't necessarily need it in this case. You can add text to help tell the story. You can add your own music underneath. You're also going to see that most of the comp and the clips are long, way, way longer than you would want to actually use in any particular project. This is a 25-second long clip. The good news is that, that means we can, or 30, I'm sorry, it's 30 seconds. See, there's the timeline down. So we're going to want to shorten this. Say I want to add this to my project that I've got going here. In most cases, most software, there's going to be little handles that you can drag, and it's going to, so let's see, I'm going to drag this. Yeah, no, way shorter than, and let's see. This little arrow at the top pointing down arrow, that's the play arrow. Let's drag this all the way over there. The arrows that point in are the handles for, that's a start and an end, or an open and a close. So 5 seconds, maybe still too much. Let's see what we look like. See, the problem here is there's no action. So, so let's drag this back over there again. Let's take that down. So it's about 3 seconds. Now in Shotcut, there's two different ways that we can add this to the project. We can drag it, we can add it to a playlist, and then drag it down here. Good news, there's this little plus button. And then the other nice thing, Shotcut, if you mouse over anything, it's going to tell you what that tool is. So I'm going to say, bring. I'm going to add it down there. You might be seeing a little bit of a lag. The other nice thing is that a lot of these video editors, this software, it's running pretty quickly. It's, I've got a lot of things, I've got multiple things open right now going on, and yet, it's moving along pretty quickly. It's not taking up nearly as much power, computer processing, as things like that used to take in the past. I also do have a laptop that has, a video card and solid state drives, and it's, optimized for this sort of thing. So the other thing with Shotcut, so these little things right here, those are transitions. So if I want to create a transition, rather than just right now, let's go back and we're going to play this. So I move that little arrow to the very beginning and hit play. And it's going to show you, we're going to make, that's a transition. So there's a fade or a dissolve in between, and that's going to fade, dissolve to this next clip. And then we're going to have a hard cut right here. Boom, it just jumps to the next cut, and that's it. In Shotcut, you do that by dragging a clip on top of another clip. So with a little hand, I'm going to drag it over there, and it made me a transition. So now I'm going to have that same cross-fading effect. A crossfade is a nice, simple clean looking transition, or, you know, in this case, I think Shotcut is calling that a soft dissolve. It's not hard. It doesn't look cheesy. It doesn't look funny. You could go with just the hard cuts. That's fine. But if you want to soften it up and make the transitions a little nicer, then that's an easy thing to do. In Shotcut also, if I click on the transition and I click properties, it tells me, no, come on. So there I clicked on a transition and it tells me what it is, and I can make it softer, I can make it harder. If there's audio, it crossfades. You control things in Shotcut by filtering, you know, back and forth between here. So filters. So say the other thing I want to do. Let's go back to playlist. I have some audio in here. So I am going to just drag and drop that down there on the audio track line. Now you can see it's way longer than what my video actually is. So I'm going to spring back. I'm going to make sure that starts at the beginning. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, that's too long. So we're going to have something called, there's a little button here that I learned, the split at playhead. So now it's created two versions, like a copy. It's split. The old fashioned, we use a pair of scissors. And then I can right click, remove it, gone. Audio's gone. Now, this could be a little jarring. It's going to just start and it's going to stop. So so we learned we go to filters. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking at. I'm going to add a filter. We're going to fade in the audio, and we're going to fade out the audio. Let's try that again. I'm going to fade out the audio. Fade in, fade out. Pretty cool. Very simple. So now, if we go back to the beginning, also you can see over here I've got this. That's another filter in Shotcut. You can add text, and the cool thing is I can move that text. I can drag it around. I can change the font. I can type whatever I want to show up in here. I can make it bigger to make sure that the text doesn't show up across the entire video. That is something I'm going to tell you to go take a look at one of the Shotcut tutorials on, because I had to learn that, and I'm still not even completely certain, but I'm making sure that that it only shows up in this little beginning section, and you can change and have it show up in other ways. And there are filters for text. You can have, you know, 3D text. There's a lot you can do here. So now we're just going to play this. Now you can see we've got music, and we've got our transitions, and we've got shorter clips that are helping to tell our story, and we could have other calls to action in here. So, you know, this is pretty doable. So far, this is not something that is overwhelming, and I think between all the tutorials that exist out there, make Shotcut a pretty good option for a lot of my librarians, you know, nonprofit pals to use. This is WeVideo to show you the inside. And again, I've got some of these same folks. I've got some audio down here in a track. For example, so this guy here, this is a pretty long clip. And so I'm gonna just shorten that up. And then I'm gonna drag these pieces back together. And I'm sure there's a quicker way to fill in the gaps here, but it's been a while since I've used WeVideo, so I don't remember how. And you can see that they've got a little cutter tool built in, so you can drag it along, and if you want to cut something, you know, just ding, right there. You've made a cut in the video. And then last, we're going to play this, and there's a zoom in, zooming out effect that you can use. I don't even think I've got any. There's no transitions here. That's just a hard cut from one clip to the next. And you can see some of these are probably still going along too long. We're like, okay, you know, we could have cut her shorter. we probably could have cut the boy, maybe right there. Again, this isn't moving quite quick enough. But that's also because these are clips that I've only just put together sometime recently, and I haven't gone back. And but you can see it's pretty easy. In fact, what if we stop and we're going to cut there? So again, it's simple. There's tools up here for how you add text. They've got free music. They've got premium music. There's got, you can import your own audio clips. You can insert graphics and photos. It's a slick tool, and the fact that it's cloud-based and you can use it on any computer in your library, that there's a lot of advantages to that, and it may be worth it for your organization to pay for a premium version of WeVideo or Loopster because of how simple to use they are. And if it's simple, then you're going to use it. If you're going to use it, you're going to be able to make videos happen. This is a Loopster, and you can see this is Loopster's pricing plans. They have education packages, business packages, and it's going to tell you basically, you've got to pay a minimum of $5 a month to get rid of that watermark and to get longer videos. A 20-minute timeline, way enough. You're not, for projects for marketing purposes, you're not creating documentaries here. This is the download for VSDC. And again, these are some of the tutorial videos that Shotcut itself has put together. And like I said, YouTube has a lot of other examples as well. So this is one I think I might even come back and, play around with a little bit more, because I love the ease. This is pretty simple. Probably should have done that before we started the webinar. So I think those are some examples. If you want a little more information in detail, I've put a lot of that into the blog post. Do be sure and check that out, and I'll make sure that those who are getting a replay link for this also get the link to the blog post to read up, and you have some more information that you can use to check out and figure out which one of these tools is potentially best for you. Because the tool that's easy to use is the tool that gets used. And that's true no matter what marketing tool we're talking about. So I'm really curious to know, let me know, which one of these tools do you think you're interested in trying next? Are you looking at Shotcut? Do you think you want to go more advanced with VSDC? Are you willing to, let's dig in together and figure out how we can make VideoPad work and export things without paying to export? Are you going to look at Loopster or WeVideo and go completely cloud-based? Or, are you already using, or do you have a copy somewhere of something like Adobe Premiere Elements? Premiere Elements is a one-time pay versus Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a Creative Cloud subscription that you're paying for every month, like Photoshop or Lightroom are now, or Corel or Cyberlink. Or if there's something else out there that you've tried that I haven't come up with yet, let me know, because I want to add it to the blog post and add it in here. So I'm hoping that this information turns out to be helpful for you, and I think we're going to probably dig into maybe doing a little bit longer training sessions and breaking things up so that we can actually put together an entire 20-30 second little library video ad and go through and show you how I did that and how I started. You saw adding the video, adding the text. It's all possible. It's just a matter of which tool you feel comfortable with using and which tool that you're willing to invest some time to study up and use. Right now, I think I'm going to be investing my time to learn Shotcut, and I'm going to be investigating WeVideo a little bit further as well. So let me know which one of these turns out to be your new marketing toolkit favorite. And I hope you turn in to the next library marketing Tool Talk webinar, which will be in October. And I believe it's, let's check the schedule. It's a Thursday. It's at 1 o'clock. And I believe the answer is it's October 12th. October 12th. Check my website, IntelliCraftResearch.com/webinars, and it'll tell you what the topic's going to be. And I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much.